All right, welcome to Cherry Second Pod, week 4. Glad to have the boys back with us like always. We have Jer and we have Brody. Brody, the hockey expert, Jer just kind of the glue guy, and then you got me, the bench warmer. But a couple things have happened since we last talked over the last week. I'd love to get into some of Jer's picks that were the studs and plugs, but we'll first get into a segment. We're going to start with a tough look. Basically just, go through the week, throw some fun at something that maybe happened in the NHL or maybe, outside the NHL. And then, so we'll start this week with kind of have two, but the one is, oh my goodness, great start, stay hot, is Oshie. He has a routine with, I don't know if you guys saw it, but with Tom Wilson, and they do their cup check, they do the smack in the ass of the stick. And of course he got suspended for that hit on Carlo. And so Oshie's going around and warm up, doing everything by himself, like just falling in midair. It was pretty funny to look after, but I don't know if you guys saw that or whatnot, but yeah, pretty tough look in that sense.
You're missing your best friend, right? Everyone knows hockey guys are all, some are very superstitious. So you get in your mood, you do your specific things. And, if you're missing your guy, I guess you keep it going.
Yeah. That pregame warm up just in general is funny. Him and Oshie. That's so funny. I just find it, I always laugh when I see that happening, but that is pretty cool. When he was suspended, what he did.
Yeah, literally. Like, it's guys like I don't know. I heard this story from Crosby too. He, going back to Brody saying they have their superstitions, but Crosby, I guess someone was playing music in the room, and I forget who it was, but he basically played a song that Crosby went on a trip in Europe, and it was the theme song for their trip. And that night he got a hat trick. So he kept retelling the same story to the guy without him knowing. It's doing the same sequence. And eventually 4 games in, he's like, dude, why do you keep telling me this? You told me this 4 games in a row. He goes, no, I didn't, dude. It's good. And he kept doing that till he stopped snoring. And then he ended up obviously moving on from the superstition, but just funny how, like you said, guys are like that. But and the second one I have is Daryl Sutter making no new friends in Calgary with Backstrom and the boys after their first practice with him as a coach. You got to love that, setting the tempo and just absolutely getting everyone on your good side when the pucks go away and just Backstrom for the last 20 minutes of practice. But
yeah, that was crazy. The guy comes in just instant bag skate, just hilarious. Just reminds you of minor hockey, just when coach is just ripping in you, making you bag skate for something. But I've never seen that before. Usually you see when the new coach comes in, they're doing fun shit. They're having a shootout or something. And no, he just comes in and bag skates them.
Yeah. And I mean, that's Sutter's personality, right? That's how he's known around the league, hard nosed. I'm sure he came in and just said, what we're doing is not acceptable, right? Being where we are in the North Division right now is not good. So he's setting the tone. He's getting the boys going, and we'll see how they do. I guess jury's still out on Calgary under Sutter. So too early to call it.
It is. But hey, stick to your ways, like you mentioned. So we'll go into kind of last week's recap of studs and plugs that the boys checked. And I mean, Jer, stay hot, buddy. I think Brody won this week again. He goes up 2-0 on the weekly record. I just want to point out your stud was Alex DeBrincat, and your plug was Brent Burns. And so you're great hockey expertness, if that's even a word. Brent Burns averaged basically 3.5 more fan points a game than DeBrincat, and he also had 2 more points than DeBrincat in that week. So Jared, way to be, buddy. You deserve a gold star. And I don't know if you wanted to make a comment about your efforts last week or what you want to do to, help the pod moving forward with some actual good advice to our fantasy viewers. But I'll let you speak on this topic.
I gotta get the monkey off the bat here. But two episodes straight now with bad picks. I don't know how a defenseman outperforms a top forward. But it happened. It's pretty impressive that actually happened. So I don't know what I need, but I feel strong this week. So I don't know if some people could fade me and take my plug instead, but
dude, maybe that's what it is.
That might be the play, right?
That might be the play. Just take my
plug and you're good to go.
and whatever goalie I do, just do the opposite. That's what you should do. But no, we'll see what happens. But I mean, 0-2 is not a good start. Brody's he's looking like the hockey expert, like we all thought, though. So
buddy, this is what I said from week 1. He is the hockey expert on this pod.
He is the hockey expert.
I didn't do great last week. I did not do great by any means. I think your DeBrincat pick just made it easy on me.
Yeah, that was an easy dub for you. Just cruising there. So I guess we go into this.
Exactly. I was going to quickly mention, you had Pavelski and Petry. Petry is your stud. Pavelski is your plug. And Pavelski started off hot. I think the day after that Monday night game, he scored, but then he only had 1 goal the rest of the week. And then Petry, same thing, had 1 goal, 4 assists. So he averaged 9.75 points throughout the 4 games they played. So not bad. Definitely a lot better than Jared. So we'll give you the crown for that. But
we'll take it.
Like we said, of course. We'll go into this week's. Jared, who do you got for your stud?
So actually going back to defenseman here, I'm going Jeff Petry. Jeff Petry on the Canadiens. I think this guy is just like completely undervalued and he's just not getting the recognition he deserves. Even on Owner's Box, like he's has the best season average for defensemen for the entire year, 11.4 points. And I'm pretty sure it's like 3 points ahead of the next guy. This guy has just been lights out all year. He plays a lot of ice time. He plays on the PP and people just don't pick him up. He's not the first defenseman off the board because he's not a well-known name. His ADP it's 45. And every time I'm going to get my first defenseman, he's available. Taking him every time as my number 1 D. People just aren't talking about him as much. And you know, he's my stud this week. I think that anyone on Owner's Box should just target him like as your first defenseman. You can get him in like the 3rd or 4th round. He's playing 4 games this week. Massive advantage for defense. Obviously, there's 3 slots and 12 game opportunities that fills out. Actually, is there 12? No, there's less than 12, right?
10 for defense.
So 4 obviously covers. 4 is massive. 4 is massive. And I think this guy, like I trust in him. Like he's a pretty much an all category type of player. He'll get you blocks. He'll get you shots. He plays so much ice time that you just love that. But he's definitely my stud this week. He's not playing against the greatest teams like that I like matchup wise, but just because Demko's been so good for Vancouver. But I just, I'm taking a safe pick here. This is more of like kind of an advice that like this guy should be picked up as your number 1 defenseman right now. There's no reason why you shouldn't.
So that's what happens when you make 2 bogus picks the last 2 weeks. You just go with like a safe ground day. Like, you can't do anything wrong. This is obvious, but just take them.
He's going to average like 2 points this week. So knowing my luck.
So maybe fade him.
Mm-hmm.
But he has 4 goals in his last 5 games, which is pretty solid for a defenseman. Like you said, hopefully he stays hot here and we can go from there. But that's not a bad play at all. Brody, any comments on that? You wanna rip him apart now, or you wanna wait till next week?
Yeah, we'll wait till next week. We'll wait till the end because I don't want to say anything bad about Petry now. We've seen what he's done this year. I do worry a little that point per game defenseman out of nowhere. I mean, he's always had offensive upside, but not to this rate. So it might be a little buying in at the top, but we'll see. He is
tough
hot.
though. They said that 2 weeks ago too. And
exactly, and that's the thing, right? So people keep saying it, but until you're proven right, like everyone who's fading him just they're wrong every week. So I think safe pick is that a stud? I mean, you didn't really go off the board there, but what can
I
you
didn't
do?
go 2 off the board. So, I did not go 2 off the board.
We'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. Gives you maybe a bit of an advantage on me because I'm going a little more off the board. So I'm going with Niklas Backstrom, who's having a great year. Kind of under the radar. I think Washington as a whole, as a team, is kind of flying under the radar a little bit this year. Just, they're in a tough division. People are kind of focusing on their division naturally. So they're not quite getting talked up as much, but he's over a point per game. The reason I really like him this week is they've got 4 games coming up and they got the 1 game against the Islanders who, play solid defense, defensive first team. That's maybe not the greatest matchup, but they're playing the Rangers twice, who also have been all right defensively, but I don't trust the Rangers. You can light them up on any given night, I think. And they're playing Buffalo, who, we all know how Buffalo is doing lately. So he's got good matchups. They've got 4 games coming into this. The last 3 for Washington, they have 5 goals a game, right? They have 15 goals in their last 3 games. So they're hot right now. They're playing well. It's a point per game player, and he's not going that high on Owner's Box. I know this number is higher recently, but his ADP is 69 or right around 69. Nice. But yeah, there you go. He's not playing. I know that's coming down because he's point per game now, but you know, in our 4-man drafts, he's not going most of the time. And in 8-man drafts, he's kind of near the end. So I think if you're playing one of the 8 or 16-man on owner's box, or even a 4-man, if you want to kind of target him with one of your last forward picks, I think it's great. He's point per game. He's producing. He's got some matchups. So, you know, fire him up.
No, I think that's awesome. I want to go back before you said who you're picking and that you didn't want to rub it into Jared, and then you just went on like a minute spree of just actually saying what pick. But yeah, I mean, I think his whole career has been like this, dude. Like he's kind of been under the radar, kind of hidden under, you know, the grade 8. When a guy makes his own contract and doesn't need an agent, that's when you know you should definitely pick him up regardless of how he's doing. Just absolutely sign him.
Yeah,
but yeah, I like the fact. Pardon?
Balls of steel right there.
literally just big dick energy basically. But yeah, I like how they play Buffalo. I mean, like Buffalo's had a tough year. Talk about tough looks, that they are a tough look. And then yeah, the Rangers, I mean, their goaltending situation has been kind of tough. They've had Keith Kincaid in that, like definitely a goalie that is going to be beatable from the offense of Washington. So yeah, I definitely like that pick. Jerry, you have anything you want to say to Brody maybe? Or you just are going to agree with them and just keep your mouth shut?
Yeah, before I go into my plug, yeah, I was actually, when he's mentioned Backstrom, he's kind of a guy I was like, fuck, like I don't even like I had to look to see like how he was doing. I was like, and then I was like, he's doing amazing, and his ADP, he's so low. I couldn't believe it. It's actually a good pick. Like he said, like you can get him so late, and like he can provide such upside that I was shocked when I saw his ADP in the 60s. I was like, whoa. Like that's low. So I was like, that's a good pick. I'm not going to share his pick. That's a good pick. So I like that pick.
I want to know what goes through your head when you're trying to pick sets and plugs. Like, yeah, I honestly didn't even think Backstrom was even playing all this year. Was he even playing top minutes? Is he even doing well? Like, oh yeah, he's killing it. Just shows how much you know in the game. Like, you're too busy with skippers and doing fantasy baseball, buddy. All right.
Trust me, I'm in the game. Okay. Brody knows I play it. I play them and then some owner's box contests to get my brain going for these cherry picking pods. But no,
and thanks for including me in those games, fellas. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Hey, we technically can't play you for money.
Oh,
so. But
no, I was just gonna do it for fun.
Yeah,
for bragging rights.
No, we should get a cherry picking. Yeah, we should get a cherry picking contest going. Okay,
and then we can see who is the best. But
yeah, then we can really see.
Back to the plug.
Yeah, so I'm going. So this is strictly more. I keep saying that. I keep giving these disclaimers about my picks. I'm gonna go with Zach Werenski on Columbus, who's been actually amazing. So it's weird that he's my plug, but this is more matchup based. The guy has 2 games this week against the Hurricanes. Don't make the mistake. You're going to see him high up on defensemen. Look at the matchup. Do not just pick him because of his projections. 2 games. Carolina. Carolina's a pretty good defensive team. Yeah, he's my plug this week. I just think that 2 games. So, like, if you're going to pick him up literally last round, and you have 2 defensemen that have 4 games, and you just kind of plug them in there for the 2. But other than that, this guy's just an avoid this week.
Yeah. I mean, again, I truly do like you, Jared, but like he's kind of on fire right now. His last 3 games, he's got 12 fantasy points or FP points, and then he has 20. So he's kind of on a hot spell here. But yeah, I guess like you said, disclaimer, the matchup, you got to watch out for it. I guess we'll see next week how it goes, and either you can rub it in my face or we can do the same, have the same conversation all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say hot take going against the Blue Jackets, but I mean, he's one of the few guys on that team still producing. So we'll see. Mine is maybe a bit confusing off the beginning because this guy's been hot. He's been on fire. I'm going with James Van Riemsdyk this week. So his ADP on owner's box is 44. So again, kind of in those 4-man drafts, he may be right be at the end. An 8 or 16, he's squarely on teams. This guy is having a career year out of nowhere. Flyers started super hot, so that's kind of inflated his stats a little bit. He's still producing, but I think the hot start is kind of helping those numbers. But I don't like their matchups this week. So they've got 4 games, and on the surface, it looks like, it might be an all right matchup. They're playing the Rangers and the Islanders. But the big reason I'm going against JVR this week is 7 of his 12 goals this year are on the power play. So, he's primarily getting, at least from an offensive side, his goals on the power play. And they're playing 2 really good penalty kill teams this week. So the Rangers are actually 2nd in the league in penalty kill, which kind of blew my mind to see. And the Islanders are 9th in their penalty kill percentage. So he's got 2 teams that, have been doing well in the thing that he needs to produce. He's also shooting at 20% this year, which again, unsustainable, kind of why I went with Pavelski last week. It's just, I don't see that continuing. So again, on the surface, maybe good matchups, at least the Rangers, but I don't see it for him this week. I think the Flyers are kind of, their last 10, they're 5-5. I think they've lost their last 2, maybe overperformed at the beginning of the year and starting to come back down. And I think this guy might be at his peak, and wouldn't be shocked to see a week out of him where instead of point per game, maybe he gets 1 point in the 4 or 2 points, but definitely not. I wouldn't draft him 44th overall in an owner's box league when, a guy like Backstrom you can get after the fact.
Look at that. That is a textbook stud and plug reference. I mean, yeah, I agree. I like the Islanders are pretty good defensively. You mentioned that he basically has most of his goals on the power play. They're tight defensively, so he's probably not going to get opportunities there. So yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying, and I just see how he brings the actual stat shooting percentages. Power play goals. Like this is what we need. This is it. This is going to get the viewers going, buddy.
Yeah, you get in the lab.
You got in the lab, and then he referred it back to his stud Backstrom. So no, I couldn't agree more. I can't believe people had the Philly kind of not cup favorites, but when they were pretty hot this year, it was pretty nuts that way. But
yeah, they're in that conversation, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I like that pick. Yeah, I like that pick. I think though it's tough. He's kind of reminds me of my stud there, Petry, that they're just kind of you're just waiting for that downfall. JVR is just a forgotten man, and this guy's having a great year. I know he's averaging 11 points on owner's box, and he's been drafted a fair amount. Every draft I'm in, he's drafted high. So I think it's just Petry. It's the same thing. You're just waiting for that downfall. Will it come? I mean, you don't know, but
yeah. So I'm going out on a limb and calling for it.
He's calling for the drop.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Unreal. All right. Well, we'll move it along here. We'll go into our goalie segment. So we'll go into, Jesus Christ, Sunday night. Have a morning, Jake. We'll go into that. We'll start out kind of comments, like I said last week, quickly. Joe, you picked Hellebuyck. You want to go any thoughts on if you would have still done that, or?
I mean, it's just was he going to get the win against the Leafs was the question that I had, and he got the win against the Leafs. So I don't regret saying it. I wouldn't have took that risk even if I draft. I would never take that risk and getting Hellebuyck that week. I don't see the upside of you're banking on them beating the Leafs. That's not we're going to win that game type of thing. So I think you were just banking on that, and I would never take that risk even with the outcome. So I don't regret. No,
I was just kidding. He stood on his head when they won, and then even when they lost, he played really good.
He has been playing really well.
Offense is good. Yeah. So good take there. Kind of, Brody, you mentioned Darcy Kemper last week. You said to sit him. Obviously, it was a good call. He only played 1 game in that week. So
he's hurt now, right? He's on the IR.
Yeah, he got hurt in games. So, that one I don't think counts either way.
Yeah, that one's a little. We got some question marks on that one.
Yeah. We'll it's a question mark, but it's better than Hellebuyck when he has a stand-up performance against the Leafs.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well, it beats my guys too. I had Sorokin. He only played 1. It's 4 games. He played 1 game. It's 14-10 points. That wasn't the best pick, but I'll try to regroup for this week. So we'll get into that. Brody, why don't we start off with you? Who do you got this week? And are you guys start him?
I'm going with James Reimer this week. I mean, traditionally not a top goalie name. I know he's kind of been up and down and throughout the league. You typically a backup. He's getting the majority of the Hurricanes games now. Obviously, Carolina's on fire tonight after beating Detroit again. They've won 8 in a row. He's 12-3, and his numbers aren't, fantastic by any means. He's got a .908 save percentage and, I think it's 2.71 or 2.72 goals against average. So he's not putting up, Vezina type numbers, but they're winning games, and that's number one, right? You get the win. You're going for that first. So they've got 3 games this week. They got 1 against Detroit again, 2 against Columbus. He should play 2 of 3. We know how Detroit is as a team, and we know how Columbus is playing. So, not really going out on a limb on that one, but he's getting drafted around 35th. That's his ADP on Owner's Box. So there's quite a few goalies going before him. And I think, just because of his win potential, maybe still not top tier, but he should be, that next tier of goalies you get. And I'm taking him on my Owner's Box teams, and I have no issue grabbing him.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Jared, who do you think you're going to call this week? Sit or start him?
Yeah, I'm going with a start. I'm going Demko on Vancouver here. He's been so hot, and obviously now he's the number 1 guy there. Like, he's proven it. And this is the guy that everyone was expecting to kind of play like this. He's won 4 of his last 5. I like his matchups this week. He potentially could play both against Ottawa. It's not back-to-back. I don't know if he will. But if he stays hot, if he wins another game here and it's Ottawa, they should win, just because the Vancouver's so hot right now that he'll get that second game. I love him this week. And then he plays the Canadians. I don't really hate that matchup. The Canadians offense is crazy good. So I like that matchup. I like him. He's got 4 games. He'll probably start 2, maybe 3 if he stays hot. So 3 games out of a goalie, you can't complain. And especially a goalie this hot, I think he's definitely a must start this week and a must pick up on Owner's Box.
Yeah, no, I think you kind of said it. I think this year they're finally seeing what they saw from in the bubble and why they were able to let go of Markstrom to sign with Calgary. I think the transition that they had with D-Man too, I think it took a little bit for them to kind of gel. But you knew, being that young and how talented he was, kind of at every level, he was going to kind of find his groove. And I think having Holtby to back him up too is going to be good for his confidence, good for his mental game, good for everything, right? He's going to help him through that. I think Holtby knows he's there for that reason. So, I mean, like you said, I think it's time for the kid to get hot and kind of run with it. But I completely agree with that pick.
I was going to say, I'll agree with Jeremy on this one. I like that pick. I think because if you believe in them and you believe in Vancouver, right now they've got to win. They're still not out of the playoffs. I know it's an outside chance, but they've got 25 games to go. And, Montreal's a team they need to climb on. So you get your wins against Montreal, and then you hopefully get your wins against Ottawa, and they're right back in that picture. That's what you got to think they're thinking in the room. They still believe in themselves. So, if you believe in them too, I like that pick. Yeah.
Even the Demko play there, if he's hot, they're going to ride him just because these games are so crucial. They have to beat Ottawa twice. So, I mean, if he's hot, it's not back to back. I don't see why they wouldn't play him in that second Ottawa game, which is, with 2 wins right away to start off your Owner's Box week is just golden. You're laughing.
Yeah, hey, I mean, I think you deserve a round of applause. We all agree with your pick, buddy.
I know it's a first. It's definitely a first where people are applauding my pick, but we'll see if he actually performs. Right? It's a lot of talking, but let's see if he performs.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're going to find your mid-season stride here this week.
Maybe, hopefully a little rebound curve there. But
there it is. I'm going to throw in one in quick. I'm going to go more. This is more for season long fantasy guys. I like running kind of like a 3 goalie system. So I picked up Devan Dubnyk later this week, and he got me 18 Ben points, which is big, and he's kind of getting hot. He's won his last 2 starts. The San Jose Sharks have won the last 3 in a row. Although they're playing, the Vegas Golden Knights and St. Louis this week, it might not just be a bad add-in. If your 2 starting goalies can't do it, kind of pick them up for a night and see, ride the sale. He was the number 1 pick, and he always has been good. He had a good. Edmonton was tough. I mean, it was hard to play there when he was there, and he did well in Minnesota. Tore it up the 1 year, so he does have that ability. So I think if he gets hot, he can kind of run with it. And like I said, he might not be good all season, like we're talking about. There might be that drop off, but I like him getting him while he's hot. And like I said, he has a shutout in the last game that he played. He won the game before that. So hopefully he can keep riding here in the next week and maybe help some people out, get some extra points to, be who they're playing on a weekly matchup. So, you guys have any comments on that or any other comments about anything else we have to on this week or hockey or in either segment?
No, interesting pick, Jake. I was kind of like, holy shit, this was a pretty flyer here. He doesn't really have great matchups either, so I definitely will not be picking him up. But but you know what? You do make sense though. He does have a lot of talent, and I think that he does have that potential of he can be a great goalie, and he's obviously mostly free agent probably in season long. That would be my guess. But
oh yeah.
I just don't like these matchups against him. I don't think he gets if he plays, he might get maybe a win. Maybe they squeak by a win, but he's playing two good squads this week.
Yeah. It is what it is. I guess we'll see. You're in no position to talk. So
that's why. It's the only guy I can chirp is you, Jake. I can't chirp Brody because he's been trying winners.
Okay. But hey, that's why he's a hockey expert, and I'm just a glue guy. But that kind of wraps things up, and hopefully, the info that we talked about helps you this week, and we'll look forward to meeting with you guys next week. And until then, fellas, enjoy.